The Patriots had a really close call yesterday in Gillette Stadium, but they held on for a 24-23 win against the Atlanta Falcons. Um, some things went wrong. They have a lot of things to clean up, but we're going to talk about all of that as Mike Diabate and I, we replay the game from yesterday afternoon. So don't turn that dial because you're on the air with Patriots No Huddle. So welcome this afternoon, folks. I'm your host today, Steve Belgery. Derek Havens is out of town right now and can't be with us. So Mike and I are going to break down the game. Mike, they had a really close call yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. They held a wire-to-wire lead in this one, Steve, which is amazing. But it went right down to the last second, and Foxborough faithful out there, they're all holding their collective breath. Finally, Drake May finds Hunter Henry for 17 yards and a short left, completed, secures the victory. The Patriots hold on 24-23, thanks in part to a miscue by a former Patriots kicker. I know we're going to get to that, but twist of fate really kind of working the Patriots into their their realm and essentially allowing them to leave Gillette Stadium yesterday with a win. And you know what they say, a win is a win. You never apologize for a win. Any way you can get it, you take it. And the good teams find ways to win games like this. I know there's luck on their side, bud, but the good teams find themselves in position to be able to pull these out. I think that's what you saw yesterday in Foxborough.
Yeah, I think it's actually a, a pretty good sign. The fact that they, especially in that second half, they did not bring their A game in that second half.
Mm.
And this was a game they would have lost a year or 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that they were able to hold on and win, uh, speaks to where the team is. Atlanta isn't a good football team right now, but they're a talented team, and
Mm-hmm.
they're going through their own struggles. But they have some really good football players on that team, and I think with better coaching, they might be ready to make a step up themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Someone that's not going to clap back at you for, getting a win. That's a conversation for another day. I don't know. The Patriots are indeed back, Steve. When they're starting to draw these types of criticisms or these types of half-baked ideas, you know that the Patriots are back in everybody's head. What a great place for it to be when you're a New England Patriots fan. But yeah, I think you're right on the money when it comes to this team and how they're situated. And taking on an Atlanta team with a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. I mean, you saw yesterday, Drake London is a force in that offense, and he's going to continue to be. I was very impressed by what I saw from Michael Penix yesterday, coming off the injury, playing well, keeping his team not only close, but in a position to win it at the end. Bijan Robinson is still, in my opinion, one of the best running backs in the league this year. He played well, despite the fact that the Patriots were able to hold him in check once again in under 50 yards. Milestone I'm sure we'll get to in a little bit, but the opposite side of the field, and you've got playmakers there as well, and those guys that can do the job. Jalen Walker is someone we talked a lot about on previous podcasts in draft season about the potential of the Patriots maybe even using first-round draft capital on Jalen. That's how much he rose through the ranks this season and became a draft darling in a lot of ways. He proved why yesterday. He can get after the quarterback and make life miserable, even for quarterbacks that are playing as well as Drake May is right now. So you got to feel good about the Pats being able to pull this one out. It wasn't their best game. It definitely wasn't pretty on either side. But the Patriots are still standing and now winners of 6 straight games.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, just this week, right? They're tied for the best record in the NFL, and we
Absolutely.
didn't expect to, see that at the halfway point after 9 games. You know, this summer or in the spring, we thought they would be making strides. I think all of us thought if they were 5-4 at the 9 game mark, we'd have probably been pretty happy. But now
Yeah.
at 7-2, and they should really be 8-1.
Mm.
I mean, you go back to that Steelers game, another sloppy game that one got away from them. Um, but it's strange because and Mike Vrabel made. I mean, everything changes from week to week, and you know the NFL this season has been nothing except what's the best word to describe it? I mean, you know, you can't take a thing for granted this
Right.
year.
Yeah.
I
Very
mean,
unpredictable.
yeah, it's completely unpredictable. That was the word I was looking for. Um, you know, Atlanta. I mean, they beat Buffalo, they beat Minnesota. You know, then they lose really badly to the Panthers and the Dolphins. Then they gave the Patriots all they could handle yesterday, and those same Panthers, right? I mean, Patriots, walked all over them, and they beat Green Bay yesterday. So I mean, this has been a crazy season, and I thought Mike Vrabel brought it up. You can't take anything for granted. You have to be, ready to go. And he poo-pooed talk of that, week schedule that
Mm,
uh, people have been talking about. I think if they had lost that game yesterday, people would have said, "Oh, see, it's the schedule."
mm,
They're not as good as we thought they were, and the soon as they faced a half decent team, they lose. So
mm.
and I figured that was coming regardless. But I think this team right now, as bad as that second half was, they were in the driver's seat at the end of the first half. I thought this was going to be a blowout.
Yeah. I think everybody thought that. You look and watch this team progressing, and Drake May had them in position to add more points heading into the half. And then you see the misfire, and you see the miscue, and he gets sacked, and he fumbles the ball. And Atlanta picks it up, and they're able to put points on the board because of that. That gives them an awful lot of momentum heading into the half. And even though the Patriots got the ball coming out of the third quarter, it still has a pendulum swing, and you could feel the momentum shift toward the Atlanta Falcons in that regard. And then Drake throws the interception, and all of a sudden, two costly interceptions lead to points on the board. Atlanta was able to put three more on a John Parker Romo field goal from 38 yards, and all of a sudden you got yourself a game in New England. A lesser quarterback, a lesser talented quarterback, but a lesser mentally tough quarterback would have folded in that situation. They would have begun to go into what Shane Falco called the quicksand syndrome season. Mistakes happen, and then another, and then another, and before you know it, you're in over your head, and you can't pull your team out of it. You can't even pull yourself out of the hole that you've dug for yourself. That did not happen with Drake May yesterday. He kept his head down, kept making plays. There were mistakes. I think it was probably his shakiest outing of the season, maybe definitely his shakiest outing in the last few weeks. And for him to overcome that type of adversity and still be able to throw and deliver a nice strike to end the game to Hunter Henry. Deliver that throw knowing you needed a first down and you needed the ability to get into a realm where you could just kneel down and then milk out the clock. That to me shows an awful lot of mettle on this young quarterback. So anybody wondering what's going to happen with Drake May, how's he going to deal with adversity? You saw him deal with a lot of adversity yesterday. He came through it very well.
Yeah, he seemed just a tad off yesterday. It wasn't his
Mm,
best game, but even still in that first half, he was dealing early
mm,
in the first half. I mean, they got into that rhythm offensively, and they were moving the football. And as you said, I mean, they're up 21-7. It looks like they're going to put points on the board right before the half, and then the fumble hits, and again, as good as he's been playing, we tend to forget he's only
mm,
23
right.
and he's really, just basically starting his second season in terms of games played.
Yeah.
Um, he makes some mistakes. Like again, that first drive in the second half, they have a second and goal from the 5 yard line.
Mm,
Uh, he drops back, nothing, is open. That's when he has to learn how to throw it away. He
right.
held on to the ball too long, and that 9 yard sack basically takes them out of any chance of getting a touchdown there. And as you said, that just snowballed the the momentum that Atlanta had going into the half,
Yeah.
because I thought holding them to a field goal was a big win for them, even though it made it a two-score game. But I thought that was a big win for the Falcons. But defensively, they had issues with Drake London, who's a great football player.
Yeah.
Bijan Robinson, they bottled him up, as you said. But at the same time, he had a really big game in the passing game, I thought.
Yeah.
A couple of really nice catches. But then the defense, they held them to 1 for 10 on third down. So it's a tough one to grade this one.
It really is tough to grade because you feel like this team deserves an awful lot of credit for getting the win despite all these problems that they had. But at the same time, you also look at some of the problems that they did have on the field and say, well, these things are, problems that they really should be passed, or that really you hope are not signs of things to come, maybe a one-off. So, yeah, it'll be interesting taking out the red pen this week and grading these New England Patriots. And yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned Bijan Robinson, because I think a lot of people coming into this game, you, myself, and even Derek, believed that he was going to be the offensive explosion that the Patriots were going to have to worry about. If Atlanta's going to come in and beat you, it's because Bijan is having a phenomenal game. He had a good game. I mean, there's no question about it, but 46 yards on 12 carries is not what he expected to get here in New England. He wanted to break that streak. Instead, New England keeps it alive. He did catch 8 passes for 50 yards. You alluded to this earlier. A couple of big catches down the stretch, a really impressive one as time was expiring and the Falcons were trying to put pressure on the Patriots and really give them all they could handle at that point. Bijan stepped up and really proved that he can be a threat in a number of ways on the field for the Atlanta Falcons. And you can't say enough about Drake London. 3 touchdowns, 119 yards, and every time they needed a big play, he was there for them. So he's definitely developing as one of Michael Penix's favorite targets, and you can see why the moment these two take the field.
Oh yeah, and and kudos to Atlanta, because they schemed up twice down on the goal line. Putting a 6'4", Drake London on 5'9", 5'8", is Marcus Jones. And in fairness to Marcus Jones, I mean that's like putting Muggsy Bogues, on Robert Parrish, right down.
You're right. Exactly.
He's not going to stop that alley-oop pass. So it is what it is, and sometimes you have to tip your cap to the other team.
Yeah.
Because they scheme that up, and look, that's a jump ball he's going to win every time. And but at the same time, I was watching. I thought the Patriots did another great job in the running game. They held Atlanta, I think it was 71 yards total, 1 of 10 on third down. I thought they played pretty well. They had their moments. They need to clean up some stuff. I thought red zone defense, has been it's been a constant issue, for them this year. That needs to get cleaned up. And I thought the one area, especially now, we're here. We are. Tomorrow's the trade deadline. They need some help in the pass rush. I thought Michael Penix had far too much time in that second half.
Oh, absolutely.
Throwing the football.
Yeah, without question. You're absolutely right. And that pass rush does need a little assistance, I guess is the best way for me to put it and to be diplomatic. And I think they will be active in trying to do that. I still think that's their biggest need. I know a lot of Patriots fans were a little worried about Kayshon Boutte and the injury that he sustained. The Patriots called him day-to-day. Officially, the Patriots are listing him as day-to-day, saying he's not going to practice early in the week, but we'll see how it goes later this week. If he's not back for the Tampa Bay game this weekend on the 9th and on Thursday Night Football, they're optimistic that he can come on the field and be a contributor against the Jets. And apparently, Kayshon has taken a Discord to confirm this. That's not confirmed yet in terms of anything official from the team or from the coaching staff, but apparently this is coming directly from Keyshawn on Discord, saying that it was a grade 1 sprain, and that they'll miss a little bit of time, but ultimately it's nothing that's going to keep them off the field for a good long period. So in that regard, I think they have enough when it comes to Stephon Diggs, when it comes to Demario Douglas. I think Kyle Williams will step up and take on a much bigger role. We saw that yesterday when Keyshawn Boutte went down. Williams getting his biggest load of the year in terms of offensive snaps, aligned on 31 of them. Missed his only target. Looked like a miscommunication there with Drake May. That'll be shored up. I think they'll work on that a lot this week and try to get him ready to be out there and to be a productive part of what the Patriots are hoping to do on offense. But ultimately, I think all signs point to the Patriots upgrading the defense if they do anything on this trade deadline.
Yeah, because I like their cornerbacks. I mean, they did dodge a bullet, right? With Christian Gonzalez saying he's good to go, and I like the fact, excuse me, that although he went back into the locker room, he came back out at the end of the game for the handshake thing, and that kind of tells me he's going to be okay.
Right.
But the fact that they kind of dodged the bullet there, I like their secondary. I think the linebacker play is getting better. We know the defensive line has been outstanding against the run. I just think they need some help pass rush. They seem to be getting it early in the game, but they're only getting it from two guys. And I think at the end of games, they're getting tired, And it seemed like as the game progressed yesterday that they were getting less and less of a pass rush. Now, the infamous play where the myth of the hand clapping, I don't know what happened there, but Milton Williams blew right through the line.
Yeah.
And I watched that play. We might as well address the
elephant. I know, I got you.
Yeah. I watched that play like several times afterwards. I didn't see anybody clap.
Yeah.
It looked to me. Now maybe I'm wrong, but it looked to me like Penix was on a silent count because it looked like he did the foot stomp that you see a lot of the quarterbacks do.
Right.
And he had the guard looking back, and he put his foot down. So it had nothing to do with clap, But
yeah, I mean, Mike Vrabel addressed this from the podium. He even addressed it a little bit this morning when he spoke to our good friends over at WEEI and the Greg Hill Morning Show, and said that he's not seeing what a lot of this is coming about. Obviously, I mean, if there was any clapping going on in the background from Jalen Hawkins, it wasn't anything that was intentionally trying to either keep it down or tip anything off. I don't think it's anything that the Patriots did. I mean, he made the point. It's loud. Guys are trying to get lined up. They took off when they snapped the ball, obviously, so that's a good thing. But the Patriots, I don't think there was anything sinister going on the field. And, again, I think things like this only really prove that the Patriots are back in every way.
Yeah, when you're seeing stuff like this pop up, excuse me, because that was the other thing. If they're, can't hear the signals, so they're, because of the crowd noise, how are they going to hear it with Jalen Hawkins, back deep in the secondary? I mean,
right.
Anyway, I watched it. I didn't see anybody doing any of that particular play. I think it was just a miscommunication on their part. And I think it was a little bit of sour grapes that they took a bad penalty at a really bad time.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, without any question. And again, I think when you're on the opposite end of these types of games, when you're on the loss end as opposed to on the winning end, everything is going to be magnified. Every little detail is going to be scrutinized because there is such a razor-thin margin of victory and defeat in this game that anything that you do can be second-guessed. And if we're going to go there, we might as well go there. The Patriots had a Lady Luck on their side as well. I don't think anybody can deny that. And John Parker Romo pushing that extra point attempt just wide and to the right. What were your thoughts when this was going on? I mean, because I think heading into this game, a lot of people forgot that this was going to be a battle of the kickers that battled it out for the Pats starting job in training camp. I think a lot of people were wondering, well, is Romo going to come in and prove that he should have been the guy, or is Andy Borregales going to come in and prove that they were right for going with him? Borregales had a perfect day. John Parker Romo certainly did not.
No, and it was funny because I was watching it in real time, right? And I'm thinking to myself, they're not going to have a lot of time to go down and try to kick a field goal. This one might be going overtime. And then as he kicked it, at first, and when it happened so fast, I'm like, that looked like it went wide, right? And then
Yep.
you could see the reaction of the crowd, behind the goalpost. And that's when it was like, oh my goodness, I felt bad for Parker
Yeah, you
Romo
really
because
have to feel bad for him.
yeah, because he wanted to come back, and if not so much a revenge game, but he just wanted to show, hey, look, you know, I'm as good a kicker as the guy you decided to keep. And, for the game to hinge, especially at that late juncture on that I felt bad for the kid. I mean, it was just one of those things. But I wanted to go back to um, the hand clapping thing, right? And
Oh,
the
absolutely.
yeah, the 4th and 20 call. Because I'm thinking to myself, man, they only have 2 timeouts. The punt is going to eat up the 2-minute warning. Is that a call you really want to make? Granted, there was like 2 minutes to go, but even if they had stopped them, um, on before the Hunter Henry pass, they would have only had about maybe 30 seconds
Mm-hmm.
to go. And I was thinking to myself, I know 4th and 20 is tough, but do you think they should have gone for it? Now, of course, hindsight being 2020, right? You say, oh well, the Patriots got a first down, so yes, they should have went for it. But that's a tough call if you're the head coach at that point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, it comes back to decision making, and everything that had come up to that moment had put this game in position to be a razor thin margin. And you're trying to not only coach to win the game, but you're also trying to coach not to get beat, and you have to do those simultaneously. In order to be an extremely effective team, you have to limit the amount of time that you do coaching those simultaneously, coaching those in tandem. I remember Bill Parcells saying something similar at one point. You want to win, you don't want to just not get beat. And, that's something that if you can separate those two as much as possible, it gives you the best chance to be yourself and to get you where you need to be. So, yeah, I think Atlanta maybe doing some self-second guessing. And maybe it's a little easier to kind of point the finger a little, but for the New England Patriots, I think right now what you're looking at is, okay, well, yeah, we were very fortunate to be on the winning side of this one, but let's find out why it went from a 21-7 game where we looked to be in control and
Mm-hmm.
basically ready to deliver the knockout punch as you're heading into halftime, and then all of a sudden letting the floodgates open, letting Atlanta right back in and have this be a razor thin one right down to the last minute. That to me is what Mike Vrabel and his coaching staff need to reconcile before they take their talents to Tampa Bay this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, look, up to that fumble, I was like, okay, yeah, they have taken control of this game. They're getting ready to do the double score here because I was thinking, okay, I didn't think they'd get a touchdown there
Yeah.
because the time was short. But I'm thinking they're going to kick a field goal here. They're going to go up 24-7, get the ball. It's going to be 31-7, and you know, and then it's cruise control.
Right.
And boy, did that turn on a dime.
It
And
did.
again, I think at that point, Drake May has to take better care of the ball. He was holding it in one hand. Granted, Jalen Walker came flying on that stunt, but when you have to do a better job of protecting the football. And he fumbled again later, and fortunately for them, they were
Yeah,
able
it
to
was able
recover
to,
it.
yeah, recovered it. Yeah.
But it was, and again, we're we're criticizing May, but at the end of the day, 19 of 29, 252, two touchdowns, the one pick, 102.5 passer rating. You know, we're kind of dealing with first world problems now.
Yeah, we truly are, and it's so nice to be dealing with first world problems again when you're the New England Patriots, especially after the last few years here in Foxborough and how everything has been magnified, and exactly the opposite of the way in which you want them magnified. It's not being heralded or it's not being celebrated. It's being used as a punchline each and every week. So for the Patriots to kind of shed that skin and be able to get back into the discussion of the top teams in the AFC and in the NFL as a whole, definitely a great place to be. Speaking of great places to be, Steve, I wanted to bring up the Mario Douglas. Career day for him yesterday, but he played brilliantly, especially in the second half when he knew that the Patriots were going to need a little bit extra. He was there, contributing everything he could, took on a more cerebral role in the second half as opposed to the first, but still a guy who played at an extremely high level. 100 yards on just 4 catches. That's the highest total that he's had in his career. Um, I thought the mismatch that he took advantage of early on against Jalen Walker was an impressive touchdown, and then the 58-yard completion, which to me just showed how athletic and how much resolve this kid has to come down with the football after that. Total body control and great job for DeMario on that level. How impressed were you with DeMario Douglas's performance on Sunday?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. And then later we found out, right, he was playing with a kind of heavy heart.
Yeah.
He lost his uncle the night before, and I'm sure that was on his mind. He talked about that after the game. But, that 58-yard play, I'm thinking to myself, this has to be the longest play in NFL history where a guy is falling down the entire time.
Right.
He was losing his balance several times. He kept his feet under him, and he was able to go. I mean, that's just those are the kind of plays that you can't teach. That just
Right.
it's just one of those things where guys have that ability or they don't, and and it was really needed yesterday
Mm-hmm.
because they lost Keishon Boutte early in the game to that hamstring injury,
Yeah.
and Demario Douglas picked up the slack. I thought it was a great game for him, and he's just one of those guys that you have to absolutely root for all the time.
Yeah, without question. And you're glad to see it. He deserves it. And even after what some have described as a statistically slow start to this season, you've seen him
Yeah,
come on and really come on lately. And I think he's playing extremely good football right now. And the Patriots are going to need that heading into this weekend's matchup with Tampa Bay, especially if Keishon's going to be on the shelf. You want to make sure that DeMario is playing at the highest level possible so he can help provide some guidance and some wisdom and counsel for guys like Kyle Williams, maybe even an Efton Chisholm, gets a few more looks this week because of the woes that the Patriots may have at the wide receiver position. The Patriots running game coming into this, Steve, we all agreed, you, myself, and Derek, the last time we shared this microphone, that the Patriots are going to attempt to run the ball and run it often. I think the run game came out and did a fairly decent job of being able to move the ball. They did, collectively rush for over 100 yards, but keep in mind that 20 of those came from Drake May and, quarterback runs. So you're dealing with, just a little over 90 yards at that point that the Patriots were able to bring home from Travion Henderson and, of course, Terrell Jennings. When you look at both of these runners yesterday, who impressed you more, and if Stevenson is going to be on the sidelines for the foreseeable future, which, if it is indeed turf toe that he's got, that can be a very painful, injury, and you can't rush that back. You've got to come back when your foot is ready to have full pressure put on it. How confident are you in this running back game, considering what we saw yesterday?
yeah. I mean, I was a little surprised that they kind of leaned more on Jennings down the stretch. I thought Travion Henderson ran well yesterday. Um, I think he ended up with was it 55 yards.
Hmm.
Um, I thought he did a pretty good job. Um, running between the tackles, he has that ability you know, uh, to burst through the holes when they were there. I thought that they did a fairly good job. It wasn't as good a job as I thought they were going to do, but then again, missing Ramondre, there was that adjustment factor.
Hmm.
Um, but I thought Jennings and Henderson were okay. If it's going to be a long term thing, I don't know that this is going to be good enough.
Hmm.
I,
That's a
I
good
kind of
point.
have my doubts.
Yeah, that's a good point. And now with Dearness Johnson already having one elevation under his belt, you brought in a couple of practice squatters, but you don't necessarily have the depth at running back that you thought you were going to have this season because Antonio Gibson is no longer in the lineup and won't be until next year. It placed an awful lot of pressure on guys like Lamondre Stevenson, who again is out, and of course the two that we saw yesterday in Terrell Jennings and in Travion Henderson. And Josh loves to lean on veteran running backs. He's done that pretty much his entire career. He likes guys that are ready for the challenge, that are seasoned, that are battle tested, and can think quickly on their feet. And maybe at this point, Travion just isn't at that level just yet, and maybe that's why the Patriots are trying to bring him along slowly, make sure that he gets the carries and the opportunities to maximize those carries the way he needs to grow into the type of pro we all believe he will be. Um, I'm seeing a lot of negative feedback about the Patriots not knowing how to use running backs and they give them the ball and every other running back gets the opportunity, just feed them the ball and they'll be fine. You and I both know, Steve, that Josh McDaniel's offense is not it's not for the faint of heart. It's not a dumbed down version of what an NFL offense is supposed to be. This is one that's very precision. It really depends on accurate cuts. It depends on accurate speed. And it also depends on timing, which is so important. If you don't have that down just yet, you may not be the guy ready to take the reins and run it week after week after week. It does take a little bit of time. So maybe the Patriots are getting Travion acclimated, and in the meantime, they're turning to an old trusted friend in Terrell Jennings, who continues to do great work. And I thought he did a very good job yesterday, considering he was just signed to the active 53-man roster. The Patriots needed a couple of next men up. I think they got that from the runners yesterday, and especially when it comes to Henderson and of course Jennings. Those two guys are the ones that you want to make sure are on the same page moving forward.
Yeah, and it was nice to see Jennings get his first NFL touchdown as well. I
Absolutely.
mean, yeah, I keep seeing some um, plays where rewatching the game today. I was watching Will Campbell has a mean streak in him, and I mean, I was
Hmm.
watching him toss people to the ground
Yeah, he does.
in the running game. And he's still a rookie. We know this, but I think this kid is going to be really, really good. And because I watched him ragdoll a few guys yesterday in the running
Oh yeah.
game, and you just got to love that. And I think yeah, Henderson. If I have one, it's not even a criticism, a nitpicky thing with Josh McDaniels. He used him a couple of times in the passing game early out in the flat. They
Right.
had a check down out in the flat. The first two was successful. The third one, Atlanta was all over it the third time, and they hit him for a good sized loss.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see him more out in the pattern, more in the to the traditional Patriots, wheel route, because I think you get him the ball out there in space and he
Right.
can make stuff happen. And I'm sure it will. It's just one of those things where they're not comfortable with that yet for whatever reason, but I think it's going to come. Um, you know, one of the things I was looking for yesterday, and I don't know why, I was thinking they were going to try to throw a wrinkle at the Falcons and do like a running back pass.
Yeah.
And I kept waiting for it because I'm like, I wonder if they're going to do that today, just to throw a wrinkle at them, right? Something they hadn't seen yet,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
but and maybe it was never in the works, but I had that feeling we were going to see that. But hey,
Yeah, Josh McDaniels always loves to go into his bag of trickery, and you're waiting to see it, and especially on Halloween weekend, what better way to do it? What
yes,
better way to incorporate that? But no, you're absolutely right. I think what happened in the past yesterday is I think that this game got closer all of a sudden than we thought it was going to be, and you need to clamp down, you need to get serious, and you need to make sure that you're um, completing the fundamentals, that you're executing the fundamentals. And up until that point, they hadn't done that. New England started off very well, but the fumble right before the half, from Drake May, that was a real backbreaker for the Pats. They needed to make sure that I think that they were ready and prepared for the challenges which lay ahead. So maybe there was something in up Josh McDaniel's sleeve that he was ready to unleash and just didn't get the opportunity to do it. But again, when you're going to guys like Jennings and you're going to guys that you're looking to for guidance to make sure that they're ready to do their job, it's always good to see them out on the field and contributing. So good thing for Darrell Jennings yesterday. I'm just glad to see him get his first touchdown, like you said. Not to bring up anything else, but another player named Jennings making some headlines. Steve, as we're speaking, we will get back to the game in just a moment, but as we're speaking, Jordan Schultz, NFL Insider, is reporting that Patriots may be open to shopping Anthony Jennings right now. That he may indeed be on the trade block between now and the 4 p.m. deadline on Tuesday. I can't think of a better guy to ask the opinion of on this. Steve, you've been a member of the Anthony Jennings train. Dare I say you've been either the conductor or the driver of that train since the time he was drafted here out of Alabama. When you hear that he might be shopped, did this surprise you? And what do you think they come up with for the New England Patriots?
well, I'm as you said, I've been a big, proponent of his. I mean, I've been a huge supporter of his since the day they drafted him. I thought he was a great fit for the Belichick style defense.
Mm,
He was that big, edge setter. He doesn't have the pass rush. Excuse me, that a lot of the other edge guys have, but great in run defense. Um, kind of fish out of water a little bit with Mike Vrabel's defense. The only way I would see the Patriots shopping him between now and tomorrow is if it's for another edge rusher, because that,
yeah,
as we talked about, the depth at edge rusher right now is really thin.
yeah.
And granted, Jennings isn't a great pass rusher, but he is an excellent run defender, and I would not be trading him unless they were bringing in another guy.
Absolutely, 100% right on the money. And again, I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, and especially last week when we talked about the trade of Keon White. White ends up getting jettisoned because he was so valuable on the inside and rushing on the inside. But when it came to the edges, his skill set did not quite translate into what the Patriots were trying to do defensively under Mike Vrabel and Darrell Williams and Zach Core. I think you're running into the same type of maybe ill fit for Jennings. I think Jennings is a little bit more of a chameleon and can reinvent himself, and his skill set is vast enough to be able to play the way the Patriots would like him to play. But if in fact it looks like he's going to be a tough fit long term, then yeah, I can understand them why, or understand at least why they're looking to move him and maybe shopping him at this point. So one to keep an eye on, folks, at the 4 p.m. Tuesday deadline for the New England Patriots as the NFL trade deadline looms large over the course of the next 24 hours. And it's going to be a lot of fun to watch what the Patriots do to upgrade this team. But Steve, I don't think we're ready to take our leave of the 24-23 victory that the Pats just laid on the Atlanta Falcons. It's 6 straight now for your New England Patriots. One more, they'll tie their longest winning streak since 2021 if they can pull out the victory next weekend against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What is the biggest reason, do you believe, why the Patriots are in this position, and what has sustained them for these last few games and allowing them to rattle off what is now 6 straight wins?
Well, I think it starts with the coaching. I think Mike Vrabel has made a profound difference in this football team. You know,
Totally agree.
yeah. I mean, granted, they changed out 50% of the roster from last year's team, so they have a big influx. But again, Vrabel was a big part of that. You know, he kind of ripped it down to the studs, and then him hiring Josh McDaniels has, I think, done light years worth of good
Absolutely.
for Drake May.
Yeah.
And when you combine those two, um, I think that's a big reason why they're as successful as they have been.
Mm-hmm.
They've surrounded themselves with players that fit their version, their philosophy of how to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the players have all bought in. They're completely into it, and they play tough. They play physical, and I think it all stems from the head coach. And they I think they hit lightning in a bottle with Drake May, because so many teams. I mean, we've seen it. You know, they have a franchise quarterback, and then they search for sometimes decades trying to
Mm-hmm.
find that next one.
It's true.
And the Patriots were able to do that in just 5 years,
Yeah.
from going from Tom Brady. They have the guy. Whether or not he's going to be Tom Brady, I'm not saying that, but I think he's going to be here for a very long time.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's where their success comes from. And it's going to be a tough one next week, but that's why they play the games.
Absolutely. That's why they play them on the field and not on paper, right, Steve? You got to make sure to put that prowess into practicality. And I agree with you. I think that this is a team right now that is not going to back down from anyone. They've tasted a little bit of success so far. They definitely want more. But what they've done so far is no short of being remarkable, considering all the obstacles that they had and all the new faces and some new schemes and some new ideas. For them to assimilate and to adapt to it thus quickly really speaks a lot about the prowess of this coaching staff. And with Jennings potentially on the block, and you saw the Kyle Duggar and Keon White dealt last week, you're seeing a changing of the guard in New England. There's really very few, if any, that continue to be around on this team that have been here for more than a couple of years and are really excited to see the team transition
Yeah,
from.
Kyle Duggar played almost 100% of the snaps
Yeah,
yesterday for the
yeah.
Steelers. So
Absolutely, yeah, he was. He was a force to be reckoned with in their secondary. And again, if you find the right system, then everything's going to fall into line. And I think that's what you're seeing with some of the Patriots that have been cut loose and that have caught on elsewhere. They're getting the opportunity to showcase their talents. It's great to see for the Pats. So 4 p.m. trade deadline this coming Tuesday, folks, November 4th. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you can't wait to find out what your favorite team in Foxborough is going to do. Steve, before we take our leave of this subject today and the Week 9 victory over the sorry, folks, my screen flickered, and that hasn't happened in quite some time, and I do apologize for that. But definitely a 24 to 23 victory over the Atlanta Falcons yesterday. Your biggest takeaways from this game, and what can those takeaways translate into their preparation for this week's Week 10 matchup with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
well, I think there's a lot of teaching points involved with this one. And number one is, hey, we have to clean up our own act, right? We can't be turning over the ball. The last time they had a game with multiple turnovers like that was the Pittsburgh game, which they lost a close one. This one they were able to hold on and get a close victory. But when
Mm-hmm.
they play clean, they've been steamrolling teams.
Yeah.
And now, of course, this upcoming game is against a much, much better team that's coming off of their own bye, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they might be getting some of their hurt guys back, um, and that defense, in Tampa, they can get after a quarterback. Patriots have had trouble uh, protecting Drake May, so
Mm-hmm.
that'll be something that will be, I think, big time looked at this week. But hey, they know that when they have their game together, they can play and beat anybody.
Mm-hmm.
They've shown that. So I think this week it'll be going in, clean up your mess, and get together a good game plan and be prepared for a 60-minute game against a really good football team.
Yeah, this may end up being one of the weekend's best games on tap. And you know that when CBS is sending the A team, and they got Jim
Yes.
Nance and Tony Romo coming in to call this one, it's going to be held in high regard. And I think a lot of people are going to be tuning in this Sunday at 1 p.m. as the Patriots take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We will have a game preview for you this week here on Patriots No Huddle. So please be sure to like, subscribe, follow wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you're a member of the PatsFans.com YouTube channel to make sure that you're getting Patriots No Huddle as soon as it's made available. And to your point, Steve, I think my biggest takeaway right now is the Patriots being able to take the hits and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. And the Pats took a page out of Rocky Balboa's training book to do that in Foxborough on Sunday and in Week 9. Now, when it comes to Week 10, what are the Patriots going to have to do? What are they going to have to improve upon in order to make sure that they're going to be ready for what is a very good team in all three phases? Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think protection of Drake May is going to be one of the biggest contenders in practice this week to be the storyline of the week. Look, bottom line, when you saw May have difficulty on Sunday against the Falcons, it was usually because of questionable protection in front of him. When you look at the sack, when you look at the interception, I thought Michael Wayman struggled mightily yesterday when it came to containing and doing pass protection. He struggled. He missed a few twists and really had misfires on a couple of them that really did cost the New England Patriots. So they need to get better in that regard, and I think you're going to see them work very hard to make sure that that line is up to the challenge against the Tampa Bay defensive front over the weekend. The second thing that I would watch is injuries. They're always the great equalizer. Is Ramondre Stevenson going to be out? Will they have to rely now more heavily on guys like Travion Henderson and Terrell Jennings to carry the load? If the Patriots are going to be without Kayshon Boutte, is this Kyle Williams' opportunity to ascend up and be a factor in this offense? Who kind of takes these roles when they need next men up? Patriots have always been a team that never had a problem finding the next man up under Bill Belichick, and really, I think all throughout the dynasty years. Now, the Patriots under Mike Vrabel clearly have that mandate as well. I think they're up to the challenge. I think Mike's got them up to the challenge. The only question is who's going to be the one to step up and help lead the Patriots into battle against the Bucs and hopefully take one home for the home team. And if they do that, Steve, if the Patriots are able to do that and win on the road this weekend in Tampa Bay, they will tie their longest winning streak since 2021. And then all of a sudden you're putting them into a 7-game win streak. And this team might be on a more special ride than you or I had conceived. Not more than just 24 to 48 hours ago. Things could get really interesting here in New England by that point. But what can I say? It's always an honor and a privilege to share the microphone with you. We always have a lot of fun, whether it's on Patriots No Huddle or in any of the other mediums in which we've had the opportunity to talk ball. Before we go, before we take our leave, Bud, are there any final thoughts that you have either on the Patriots win or on the trade deadline or anything related to your New England Patriots?
Well, I just think overall it was kind of an ugly win. This isn't going to be one of those games where they put it up on the website as like this is our 2025 blueprint for how to play. But it's better to win ugly than to lose pretty. So
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It counts the same in the standings. Whether you
that's
get
it.
style points or not from the press, it does not matter. You need to make sure that you have more points than the other team when the final whistle sounds. And that's exactly what the Patriots did by 1 point on Sunday against a formidable opponent in the Atlanta Falcons. And there's no question about it. Both of these teams came in ready to play and they came in ready to showcase their talent. Patriots did that with just a little bit more gusto on Sunday, and they walked away with the 24-23 victory. And now that they've won 7 straight, Patriots have their sights set on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Once again, Derek hopefully will be back with us midweek to join us and provide his wisdom and counsel and insight when it comes to previewing this weekend's game in Tampa Bay. And of course, Tuesday, trade deadline, 4 p.m. Eastern. Will the Patriots make a move? Will they be sellers once again, or will they be buyers for the first time in this trade cycle? We're going to have a wrap-up and all that analysis here for you on Patriots No Huddle. In the meantime, I want to thank my good friend, my Patriots Paisan, for joining me here on the microphone. Always an honor, always a privilege. Derek, we missed you this time, buddy, but we can't wait until you join us once again here. On behalf of Steve Balistrieri, I'm Mike Debate, reminding all of you to stay safe, to stay well, to be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you back here again next time on Patriots No Huddle.